My name is Etienne Bowie, and I am a World Federalist.
Are you from America, E.T.?
Yes, I grew up in the Bay Area in California.
Great. By the way, today is September 24th, 2017. And how did you get to be a World Federalist?
I would say it started in just looking up things on the internet. It also started in with 9/11, actually. That was my moment of understanding what was going on in our world beyond the United States, and I wanted to know why people would attack the United States, and that brought me to understand the war machine, the military-industrial complex, and how it affected other countries, and how actually those same policies, which contributed to multinational corporations, basically for natural resources, and that furthered my thirst to learn more about how the world system actually worked.
Wow. Well, you bit off a big chunk there. It looks like you were looking for the root of all the problems instead of hitting each individual problem. What's causing this whole thing? And how can we fix it all maybe in one fell swoop, ideally?
Basically, where I got involved with world federalism is through the global financial system. Once I understood more about the global financial system and how money moved around the world and basically how businesses organized around the world, I quickly understood that you need a world system to kind of control how governments and businesses work around the world if you want to really give everyone in the world human rights.
So it should be a democratic world system, it sounds like. Otherwise, the big corporations can sneak in there and start all over again, huh? And how would we ever get enough people to get on board with this? Do you have any ideas?
Well, in my mind, I believe either way we're going to end up with some kind of world governing system. So I think the important thing is to understand what kind of world system that we want. Do we want something to be created behind closed doors with little people involved in, finding out the effects of that deal later on and decades later from that? Or, this is similar to what happened with the United Nations, right? We expected more of the United Nations, but when we start to understand over time what really the foundation of the United Nations was built on, we started to see all the flaws. So this time around, instead of, getting things done in a small room, the back door, we should have more people involved all around the world from different nations. So then we can make sure this time when we do it, it's done the right way and everyone feels like they're a part of it.
That sounds wonderful. And there's so many younger people. You really have the skills with the internet, and I suppose you have a lot of hope that we can let people know what this is about and how this could work, because it's a big topic, isn't it?
I think it's a topic. The more the world changes and time passes, we start to realize that every issue is global. For example, global warming, the pollution of the earth, it's a global issue. What one person does from another country may affect you in your country. War, we start to learn that war is not only a regional issue, but a global issue because we have a global economy at this point. Then we talk about the global financial crisis. We live in a global society at this point. There's no reversing that. So the key thing, and I think for a lot of people in my generation, a lot of people are studying international business, international economics and finance, international law, legality. I think this is because they all see the writing on the wall. We go to school, almost every student, the school I went to, 50% of the students were international students or first generation citizens. So we understand that we live in a world which is, smaller than it was in the past, where everyone seemed like they were so far away. So every ideal you had about a different person, nationality or ethnicity was built on stereotypes and what we saw in movies or heard from someone else. Now we can see these things for ourselves. And I think this has done a great deal of educating the society and now they understand the importance of organizing as a global body rather than national or regional.
Are you hopeful that we can make this happen, that we can muster enough, especially young people, to make this a global movement?
I think there's no doubt that there will be a global movement, and honestly, I think it will be coming from an area that we don't expect. And I also believe that Donald Trump has actually helped out our movement, because I think a lot of other people in the world, either they didn't take American power that seriously, or, for example, Americans, they didn't take things seriously about how American politics affects the world. And now these two groups of people are verging. Those who now they want America to do more, not particularly be a homogenous power, but to actually work with other nations. And that may have started with Barack Obama, but as well as people from the outside, India, South Africa, some countries in Asia. They're starting to realize, okay, we have to do something too. We can't expect just America to do everything, because it might come up a time when America's leader is not a good leader, and they might do bad things. So therefore, we have to step up and get involved in what's going on. And I think that's what we're seeing from China right now. So I mean, that's another interesting update going on.
Mm-hmm. So, do you have any words of encouragement to the people watching this video?
I would say to anyone listening to this is that we've already won. And what I mean when I say that is we don't live in the old paradigm when you say, I'm from America, you're from South America, you're from Asia, or whatever. The next generation, especially after the millennials, so we get into like the Z generation, the generation after them, they will not realize any of these divisions of nations and all this. They will look at us as one society. And it's already happening with when you talk about, for example, hip-hop. I don't know what country doesn't have hip-hop. That was something created in America. Then you look at sports, soccer, that was created in Europe, in the UK. What country doesn't have a soccer team? Golf. So we've already done it. It's just that now our politics has to catch up with that, right? And you could say the same thing about anything in the past, right? Trade and art travels much faster than politics. Politics was built to be slow. So I would suggest that we've already won. But if we want this to be the true system that we all dream of, to end nuclear war, the possibility of nuclear war, to put that in the past, to look, the next warhead that we look at is in a museum. And, the next generation to wonder, why do we even think about weapons or fathom things like that? To organize people and give them things to believe in. And I think that's why we say a just, peaceful, sustainable world. Because those are the core things everyone wants. They want justice, economic or social. They want peace because no one wants to fight a war that's pointless and to die just for another person's ideology. And then you talk about sustainable. We just had a ton of hurricanes in the U.S. and Central America. We've had disasters. How do we respond to those disasters? How do we help one another? And how do we help increase our economic situation so everybody can gain from technology and a change in the world? These are the issues we're going to have to deal with. And having a forum, a world government, an organization where we can all meet and deal with these issues without being violent is going to be essential. And I believe a lot of people in the tech and the science area, they realize this as well. And that's why they've gone off and they've already created global organizations to focus on these issues. But it's not going to come from just a few people. A few people might come up with ideals, but we need every person to be inspired. And that's our duty as well. We're going to go out there and we're going to give you the ideas and we're going to inspire you. But we need your support to make this actually happen. And like I said, either way, it's going to happen. So do you want to wake up in a world controlled by a few who are backed by military power and they have to force you to comply? Or do you want to live in an open society where every person in the world is a global citizen and where immigration is a thing that we think in the past? We don't think of one another as foreigners. We think about what do you have to provide to society, and we're more focused on regions in our organizing bodies are focused on our local issues. But at the end of the day, we don't kill one another just because of disagreements on how maybe resources should be allocated or on religious basis. That's the kind of world that I want to work towards. And like I said, it's going to happen either way if we like it or not, because that's where the trends are heading. So what are we going to do about it?
Thank you, E.T. You give me a lot of hope for the next generation. You're among the best and the brightest, and we hope everybody else joins you. Thank you.